this week we are reading only romance books for the week because I've been in the biggest book slump. I need to get back into reading, and I feel like romance is a genre where it can kind of ease myself back into reading again, and it will have enough hook where I'll be intrigued and it'll get me on a good momentum. That's my plan. We'll pick the books together. I'll give you guys a rundown on what the book is about. I'll be reading the books with you guys, commentating along the way, and then giving my final rating for each book that I get through. My goal for this week is to read 3 books. That is my goal. I'm trying to be reasonable because I feel like sometimes when I set the bar too high, then I just don't really reach the bar. 3 books it is, guys. Before I pick the books, let me give you guys just a little life update, like what's been going on. Oh yeah, I don't know if you guys can see, Minz is just sleeping right there. So cute. You're probably wondering, why has there been no book vlog for the past couple of months? I'm honestly baffled myself. I don't know why. I thought after I moved into this new place, it would be okay, back in routine, back to reading on my regular schedule. But basically this entire first half of the year, I feel like there's just been a lot going on. I went straight back into full-time university because this is my final year of university, guys, and I never got the chance to read for fun. And if I did get to read for leisure, I didn't want to document it because I was just enjoying it. It would be before bed, and then I'm just look, I've just had a really long day and I just really want to enjoy this book without filming it, which is why I've been posting my uni vlogs and travel or just life vlogs and things like that. I hope you guys understand. I'm so sorry there hasn't been another reading vlog. I really did want to get one up. Let's get on to choosing what books we're going to be reading today. Okay, let me go through all the authors again. This is my romance section right here. We have Elsie Silver. These are more small town romance situations. This is the Wild Love series. I might be totally incorrect, but Oh, guys, it is not. It is giving billionaire romance. Okay, never mind. I don't know why I thought cowboy romance. I think I was a bit thrown off because there's other ones she's written that are cowboy romance style. Next, we have another Elsie Silver series. This series is called the Chestnut Spring series. Then I've got 3 Abby Jimenez books. This one's Part of Your World, and this is giving city girl meets country boy. I actually have an Emily Henry book mixed up in here. I guess I only have 2 from Abby, so this one's just for the summer. I have 2 Emily Henry books right here. Beach read. I'm guessing it's a summer romance kind of vibe as well. I've also heard really good things about Book Lovers, The 7-Year Slip. Apparently it's a light fantasy as well, there's fantasy elements mixed into this romance stories. And then, oh my gosh, I'm excited for this one. I have 4 Ali Hazelwood books. I've got Check and Mate, Love Theoretically, The Love Hypothesis, which apparently this was a fanfic originally of the 2 Star Wars characters. I can't remember their name. Oh, Kylo Ren and the girl, what's her name? I can't remember her name right now. Anyways, apparently this was originally a fanfic. The last one, Love on the Brain. Also, I'm gonna pick around 5 different books, I think, and then as the week goes on, I'm gonna pick between the 5. This is my book lineup for the week, and I'm gonna pick as I go. If I swap anything out, I will let you guys know. Wish me luck, and let's see which one I read first. Today is Monday, so it's the first day of our reading romance books for the week. I'm gonna swap out one of the books in this pile for this book over here. This is Jessa Hastings' The Conditions of Will, and I've really wanted to read this book for a while now, so I think I'm gonna give it a go. But because we already have such a big pile, I'm gonna take one of these out. So I think I'm gonna be taking... I think I'm gonna take out Part of Your World. I feel like I'm not as drawn to this one right now compared to these other 4. Sorry, we're taking this one out, but we're going to be entering Jessa Hastings' The Conditions of Will. Now it's time to pick from this new pile. Our first read of the week is going to be... As much as I want to read this one, I want to save this for later in the week, and I want to start with one that a lot of you guys probably know. So we have The Love Hypothesis, 7-Year Slip, or Beach Read. It's pretty cold right now, so Beach Read feels not appropriate. These 2 options. So 7-Year Slip has magical elements and sort of fantasy themes, and then Love Hypothesis, this is a fake dating situation. I'm gonna start the love hypothesis because I need to read this. I've not read it yet and I've heard so many people read it. A lot of people enjoy this book, so I need to know for myself. So just to give you some premise on what this book is about, it is a fake dating relationship between scientists, and we focus on this girl called Olive, who is a third-year PhD student, and she gets into a fake dating relationship with a hot young professor called, what's his name? Adam. It's giving Pretty Little Liars. I'm gonna read the book, I'll give you my thoughts as I go, and I'll also do a rating at the very end about my review on the actual book itself. I did not realize that this was a Grumpy Sunshine romance. So guys, not only is it fake dating, it's Grumpy Sunshine. I've read like the first 5 pages so far, and she's wearing expired contacts, and I wear contacts and my eyes are hurting thinking about it. She's also just met the guy who I'm assuming is the young hotshot professor. I'm on chapter 4 right now and I'm gonna switch over to audiobook, but so far I'm intrigued. There's some parts I will say do feel a little bit cringy, but in a very endearing way. I love that Olive doesn't realize that Adam already knows who she is, but because she's like putting in these like crusty, dusty, expired contacts in like the first 2 pages of the book, she didn't realize that he already knows who she is. So yeah, I'm curious to see how the relationship progresses. Also, by the 2nd chapter, basically you are set in the scene where they're kissing, but it's a whole setup because basically there's a guy that Olive was really into, and then her best friend and her and then that guy who she's really into were at like this party, and then that guy's actually super into the best friend, but she's just such a good friend that she doesn't want to get in between them because they seem like they genuinely like each other. She tells her best friend she's not going to this thing. She ends up going to school and staying late at the research labs, and then friend actually came into the research labs too that day or that night and sees her. She kind of needed to have like make up an excuse, and so her excuse is literally like making out with the professor, who is Adam. And I was just like, how on earth does this predicament even occur? Anyways, it was all very fast, everything happened so quickly, literally within the first 2 chapters. She definitely likes him. That's what I can get so far. I'm gonna play the rest of chapter 4 and I'm gonna go to the driving range now. It's time to do a recap because I am 62% way through this book. I'm currently up to chapter 15. I've been listening to the audiobook alongside like reading the actual physical book last night, and then this morning I listened to like a little bit more of it. So yeah, I'm like in the first quarter of chapter 15, and oh my gosh, okay, I have so many thoughts right now. Okay, this is the physical progression. I feel pretty good because it's been about like 24 hours. I will say Ali Hazelwood's books are very digestible. Like I feel like it's not hard to read, which I like. I think for the first half of it I was intrigued, but I wasn't invested in the relationship, if that makes sense. I thought everything was like really cute. There were again some like cringy kind of rom kind of moments, which again I love like a cheesy like lovey-dovey kind of cringy dialogue. So yeah, there was a little bit of that, except I found it very endearing and I thought it was very cute. The whole time I'm kind of just like, oh Olive, like you're so silly, like you're such a silly girl. It's just like I feel like there are signs, but she's like second guessing herself, which I do find relatable because I think I was like that in relationships. I don't know now because I'm like 6 years deep almost into a really long-term relationship, but I guess from her perspective and I guess my younger self perspective, I'm like, damn, it is kind of hard to like know when things aren't being like communicated openly, like what is going on, like do you like me the same way I like you, like is it being reciprocated? It's just like from a reader's perspective you can see like what's going on clearly, and she's just like, no, like It's not like that. There was something shocking that happened this morning too, which I was like, oh my god. Yeah, this book has taken me for surprise at certain moments where I didn't anticipate, like, I guess like this progression of the plot. Again, because I thought there was a love triangle going on, but something else happened. I thought it might be like quite predictable, but no, I wasn't really sure what we were walking into. The romance is very cutesy. It's very flirty, so it's situationship vibe, which is what I feel like the beginning of a lot of relationships do feel like. Friends but flirty, but I guess in this situation they're like fake dating, so it's a bit different, I guess, but without, and like, oh god, so many mixed emotions. I'm like, I feel bad for her, girl. Yeah, and I think we've all been in moments like that where we're like, what's going on, you know, regardless of like, again, like fake dating or not, like you just been like, what's happening right now? I need to keep reading and listening to this while I make breakfast because I literally cannot right now. Like, we've gotten to a really juicy part. Hello. 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 Kind of spicy chapter. I have 3 hours left of the book apparently, so I'm probably gonna finish this for sure right before my class, basically. Oh, literally right as I was making breakfast, like so many things just started going down. I was like, oh my god, I have a lot of emotions right now. Also, okay, I don't know why all my cats are here too. Hi. Do you guys like the background? You guys haven't actually seen it yet, I think, in the vlogs, but we put the wallpaper up and I feel like it looks so nice and cozy now because it actually feels like there's a bit more like going on in the background. But yeah, let me know how you guys feel about it. I'm on chapter 17 now, and can I just say that I appreciate the consent that we are demonstrating in this book. It is fabulous, especially for like any young readers. Yeah, there's a lot going down right now in these chapters. I didn't know that there were going to be any spicy scenes in this book, but there totally are spicy scenes in this book. Anyway, reading along as I listen to the audiobook. Doing this really helps me keep up the pace. Sometimes I don't like the voice actors that do it, or like sometimes it throws me like off characters, but actually for this particular book, like this has been really, really helpful. It has been a couple of hours. I went to class. As you can see, I only have a little bit of this left. I am 85% way through this book, so about allegedly it's gonna take me 2 hours to get through this last bit. I feel like I'm gonna zoom through this. Like, there's no way this is gonna take me 2 hours to get through that, but we shall see. I'm on chapter 19. So much has just happened in the past couple of chapters. Like, I feel like we really like revved it up. There are some plot turns that I didn't initially see coming. Not twists, but like plot things were about to happen. I was like, ooh, kind of can see where this could potentially be going, because I felt some tension in those moments. Page 344, and there's this one quote. She literally says, there was something intrinsically enjoyable about having him next to her, so physical and undeniable. She felt it on some primal, visceral level, the giddy happiness that always came with his presence. I feel like that encapsulates when you first fall in love with someone, like, very well. And I just thought that was the cutest little line ever. This part is like so silly because it's like literally, okay, I've been waiting this whole book to finally have that moment. Oh, it's so silly. It's so silly. That's crazy. I just read the end of the last chapter. We still have the epilogue to get through, but like that was like cheesy as heck, but I'm like dying because that was really cute. But also, what the heck? Okay, let me read this epilogue. I'm satisfied. Damn, this was a pretty good book. This is my first Grumpy Sunshine romance. I don't really normally like this genre. I don't think I've been interested, but I'm really glad I read this. And again, I just think it's hilarious that this was like a Star Wars fanfic originally. Like, I'm just like, how on earth didn't Ali Hazelwood make that into like a scientist romance. But I do love the concept and I liked the plot line. It honestly, I had no like kind of expectations going into this book, which I'm really glad I didn't, because I feel like it makes the experience more just genuine. I feel like my reactions were really genuine and I actually enjoyed it a lot more than I thought. I didn't think I'd enjoy it much at all, to be honest. Like I thought I'd kind of just have to like push through it and like not be really interested in what's happening, but I was actually intrigued. I would give this book a solid. Olive is like a little bit panicky and I feel like uncertain about herself, which I feel like is relatable, but some parts I found personally like it was like a bit much, where I was just kind of like, get a grip girl, like get it together, but she couldn't get it together at times, which for me personally, at least in this book, I was like, girl, you gotta get it together for yourself. But otherwise, yeah, those are my comments on her. In terms of Adam, I feel like he was giving like mysterious and like I don't really like, I'm not giving much kind of vibes, but in a way that I was intrigued. I think I was curious about the relationship. I don't think I was like so invested where I was like crazy about them. There's only a few books that I've read where I'm just like absolutely like eating them up, like in the relationship up, but this one I was intrigued, and because of that and because of how the plot line kind of went, and I actually had no idea where it might have gone, and I was again like very hooked after that 50% mark. I'll give this a solid, I reckon 3 out of 5. Like this is kind of how I feel like when I watch one of those movies where I'm like, oh my god, I feel like delighted at the end, but like I don't think I would like watch it again. That's how I feel about this book. But again, I was delighted by the story and I would recommend it. This is like a nice little, like if you want like a pick me up or like a breather in between like really heavy books, like this is nice because you're just like, oh, it's like a cute little romance. It does explore some like heavier topics inside of the book as well, but Ali Hazelwood kind of marries it in very nicely. Yep, solid 3.5 stars for our first romance book of the week. Update, they're making this book into a movie, which I just found out because I was on TikTok and I saw Lily Reinhardt's TikTok page and I was like, what is she on about? Anyways, I'm really glad I read this book now because now I get to see it in movie format. Exciting! Okay, just a random update. Need to let you guys know. I am moving straight onto, oh gosh, I don't even know. Okay, let's quickly do a recap of what we got. So we got Wild Love by Elsie Silver, The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston, Beach Read by Emily Henry, also got The Conditions of Will by Jessa Hastings. And I'm not gonna lie guys, this is the one that's calling my name. I'm dying to read it, so I'm gonna start with this one guys, and I'm so excited. Oh my god, like Jessa Hastings. Just for some context, I am obsessed with her series Magnolia Parks. That book, I don't know what's in there, but I am totally hooked. People who read that book, either they are obsessed with it or it's just not for them, is kind of the consensus that I get. I am one of those people who is absolutely obsessed with that series. I love it to death. I love Magnolia Parks. I love BJ Valentine. I feel like I know these people, and when I read, like I just feel like I'm just so invested in them and everything that's going on, and that was a 5-star like series for me. Like I am obsessed with that series. Good evening everyone. We've done a bit of a time skip. I am currently on chapter 17 of this book, almost a third of my way into the book, but not quite a quarter. The kind of setup of this book that we've gotten so far is that we have our main character Georgia Carter, and she goes back home because she's gotten a call that her father's died. And the Carter family are from like a small, not a small town, but something of a sort of a small town, and I guess they must be quite like an affluent family and also quite like a famous family because they have some sort of a legacy. And yes, the father dies, there's a will, and our main girl Georgia has a couple of siblings. So from my understanding, she has two sisters and 2 brothers. The brother that she is close to is gay, and he has an AA sponsor which I didn't know what an AA sponsor was. I thought it was like maybe like a sports sponsor or some sort of like work sponsor. No, it's I think something to do with alcohol and drug abuse. So there are some serious topics in this book. This guy's called Sam, and Sam has come back with the brother to basically a big family reunion because the father's died. Georgia meets Sam and is instantly drawn to him. They're attracted to each other clearly, especially her. Georgia gets sent away to London to study and to live and yeah, goes to Cambridge because her family thinks that she got with her sister's boyfriend when actually something else was going down. Okay, there's something more to that. She is like a psych major. She has this ability to read people really well and their reactions and micro reactions, and then she kind of comes to a conclusion about what their thoughts and feelings might be in those moments. She pays a lot of attention to the people around her and her surroundings and their actions and reactions, which I think comes from some trauma, which does get addressed. It does say at the back of the book that she's attracted to Sam, but she doesn't want to lose the only real family that she has, which is this one brother she's really close to. Yeah, her brother Oliver looks at Sam a certain way apparently, and now that I'm reading into the book a little bit further, I'm like, oh, I can't tell if it's in a romantic way or if it's in a way that he looks up to him, because again, he's his AA sponsor, like helping him get through what he's going through. I guess there is like a mystery element of this book, which is basically like what is going on with the inheritance, and so far I don't know. We've gotten set up with like all the characters, their relationship, the dynamics. Are we gonna find resolutions to some of these relationships, or is it going to have like continuous tension between certain people and their relationships? I don't know yet. Continue reading and I'll keep you guys updated on my feelings and reactions.
Guys,
Do you trust me?
yes, it's breathing on my neck, and it's so steady. And then
Good morning everyone, it is time for yet another book update. Got my glasses on because I have some thoughts. Major update about this book. So first of all, I'm up to chapter 34, which is just a bit over halfway. I have about like 3-4 hours left of this book, I reckon. I am loving where this is. I feel like this book kind of feels like first love, or not first love, but when you experience love for the first time with somebody new, and I love that feeling. So that's how I feel when I am reading this book. It's just kind of like figuring each other out. You're like guessing what the other person's thinking, and I feel like it would resonate with a lot of people, including myself. Really been loving their relationship and seeing it grow. There's been something that I did not realize. If you guys know, I am obsessed with Jessa Hastings' series Magnolia Parks and the whole Magnolia Parks universe. This book, The Conditions of Will, actually exists within the same world as Magnolia Parks, because Julian, which if you know is Daisy Hate's sister from Magnolia Parks. If you haven't read that series yet, I highly recommend you guys read it. It is an amazing series. I love everything about it. I feel like those people are my friends. These characters are my friends, and I feel like I'm so invested in their life and everything that's going on. Our girl Georgia was dating somebody who was involved with Julian, and if you know, again, Julian is Daisy Hate's brother, and he's also like one of the big gang lords in London, UK, and then Magnolia, by the way, is a socialite. Her dad's like in the music industry. She's like Nepo baby vibes, and she's just like living the high life, but there's a lot of like romantic drama. There's a lot of other people involved, which I won't get into all of that. If you want me to like be talking about that and see me talk about that series, I have a video on my channel actually where I was reading Magnolia Parks for the first time, and I was like having the time of my life. I'm just so happy that it exists in the same universe. I'm gonna put my glasses back on and I'm gonna read for another 3-4 hours. I really should be doing my uni assignment right now, but I want to finish this book off. I just had a quick thought on the book, and basically I really enjoy that Jessa kind of goes back and forth between present day and moments in the past. She does this really well in Magnolia Parks, which I really appreciate. Like for example, right now I'm reading like a part where it's like present day things are going on, and then George is like recounting her experience at boarding school in the UK, and it just is very seamless, and it gives you a lot of context, and it feels very personable, which is how I feel like you get to know the characters like just very well, and you feel like a deeper connection with them. Anyways, I just love Jessa's writing. Just need to mention that. I love how Jessa is overall very detail oriented. I feel like she doesn't gloss over things, and I feel very much like I know the character completely, and like how they are and why they are the way they are. I have a crazy line for you guys. Kissing Sam Penny on this bed is the greatest thing I've ever done with my life up until now. Forget Cambridge, forget my internship, forget loving Storm, forget getting to confront my sister. This is it. This is what music exists for. This is why the birds sing. This is why the tide pulls and the water falls. It's why the sun rises, and it's why the moon hangs. They are all ghosty white. Excuse me. Like, oh, it's so like magical. Oh man, it's just like I can feel that she's in love. Guys, I'm on the last chapter, number 62. There's so many chapters in this book, but the thing is, each of these chapters are really short, so I'm gonna whiz through this. A quick thought about the middle of this last chapter. Georgia is like talking about how things have unraveled, and it kind of shows how like the butterfly effect of life, like one decision from another person can spiral you down like one path, and the decision of that person, if they went another way, could spiral you down another path, and it's just like so real, literally so real. Oh my god, I just finished the book. Oh my god, I listened to the audiobook at the same time. That is crazy. I read this in like 24 hours. I think 11-12 hours to read this. I think this book looks really big, but actually it's not that big. I think it's only, actually it's 450 pages, but this is like the chunky big first edition of the book. Immediate thoughts. I think I had some notes actually as I was reading the last part. As we were getting towards the end, I feel like my thought throughout the whole book was that I feel like I really know the sibling dynamic. So Georgia has two sisters. There's Savannah, who is her good sister. Marianne's the other sister. She sucks. And then there's her mother. And then we have Oliver, who is like the brother that she's closest to and has some addiction issues. And then we have her brother Tennyson, who she didn't have a relationship with before, but is now like forming more of a relationship with him throughout the book, and he's actually trying. And I feel like there's a really strong dynamic between all these characters, and you really do get to know each of them. So surprisingly, like within 450 pages, I feel like I know who and how they are like, and I just feel like it's just Jessa Hastings. She's just amazing at writing these characters and these found families, and not even found families, actually a family, and the mother as well. Oh my god, there were moments where I was just like, I wish she would just listen. But overall, this book, it felt very bittersweet. Although it discusses some really like darker topics, it's not super heavy, if that makes sense. You really do get to see the relationship between Georgia and Sam, the dynamic that he has with the rest of her family, and her relationship with all her siblings and her parents. There is a lot of uncovering going on because of this will and how her father died. This is the kind of romance book that makes me feel like the feelings of first love, which I feel like is so beautiful, because yeah, it's like, it's interesting because Jessa Hastings, like, she doesn't write any like spicy scenes, like implies it happens or says it happens, but it's not like she's going into detail where it's like, you know, there's like really spicy moments and stuff, which like sometimes it can be fun, sometimes like it's just too much. Like for example, like let's say Ali Hazel with The Love Hypothesis, like she gets into detail about like the spice scenes, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I feel like Jessa Hastings, she never has to use like details to describe what's going on, because there's so much emotion that is involved with like the characters that you really feel they're longing for each other. You really feel like what they're going through and the relationship that they have with other characters, that it's not necessary. And it's so interesting because somebody who I used to feel like, oh, it makes it a little more interesting. No, like you don't need to have like spicy scenes is what I'm trying to say to make it interesting, and that's a testament to Jess Hastings' writing, and I think it's so beautiful. And again, it feels like, I don't know if I said this already, but it feels like a warm hug, and it's just something that I probably usually wouldn't go for, to be honest, and I'm glad I was really open-minded going into this. So if you want some really good writing and you want a story that really takes you along a ride, it really is a ride. I feel like the thing I liked actually about like seeing the sibling dynamic, I said I really like that we really got to know them all very well. Okay, I said that. And I like that throughout the entire book you really feel and see the healing, growing and changing of the relationships as they've grown up over time, because she does these things where she does flashbacks and stuff, which they're really naturally integrated. And I feel like her tone with you is like very, not conversational, but there are moments of that where I just feel like I'm involved with what's going on. Wow, like to be able to see and understand a character's development like within 450 pages is insane to me, because I don't know how I would do it. But yeah, I feel like when I read her other books, Magnolia Parks, I really felt that with all the characters, especially across all the different books. And it's so crazy because I care so much as a reader. Like sometimes you just think it's not that deep, but I really do care. I'm like invested into like the changes that they're going through, and it's very relatable, I think, for a lot of people. So yeah, this also made me think about like my family dynamic, and anyways, it just explores a lot of different things which I feel like people can definitely relate to. I'll just love. And I would give this series it's not even a series, I think it might be just like a standalone. Oh, and again, this is part of the Magnolia Parks universe, which is insane to me. I'm like, how did Jessa do that? She just like threw it in there. I give this book I want to say a 4 out of 5, because I was very invested as I was reading this. Not a 5-star, because 5-star is like God tier, and I feel like it's a very particular feeling, but I was very invested in this. That's another book done for the week. That is crazy. Okay, let's see. What do I have left? These are my options that I have left, guys. We have 3, Beach Read. We have The 7-Year Slip, and then we also have Wild Love. I was gonna go with Wild Love originally, and then I switched to Beach Read. I've been reading this since yesterday, past halfway through chapter 10. So far, we're kind of like setting the scene for the book. I'm not gonna lie, it's like not super interesting to me at the beginning, but now that like I've gotten to know the dynamic a bit more between January and Gus. Quick summary on like what the premise of this book is about. So January is a author, Gus is also an author, and they went to college together, I'm pretty sure. Used to go to like similar events, they've met each other. January doesn't think Gus remembers her, but they had like an interaction, not to be ambiguous, but they had an interaction, guys. And like she thinks he doesn't remember, which honestly I think it's ridiculous that she doesn't think he remembers, because it was a romantic not romantic, but like somewhat sensual interaction. And anyways, so Gus is now a well-known author, and she is an up-and-coming author. And yeah, so Gus is a literary fiction writer, and then January is a romance women's fiction writer. And basically she finds herself at her dad's property that he actually had an affair with somebody with. Her mum was really ill, had cancer, and then she was really stressed about that. Turns out her father was the person who passed away whilst her mum recovered, and he actually had a secret affair with somebody, which is why she's at this house now, because I'm guessing it got passed down to her. She goes there to kind of escape and also go write her new book that she has to finish writing for her publisher. And then that is where she bumps into Gus, who, again, the backstory I just told before, where they met each other and went to college together. Sorry, I kind of told this out of order, but yeah, she sees him and they definitely have some tension because they are rivalries, and she used to always try and outdo him during college when they were like, you know, studying together as students, but he's, you know, found some success in his career and she's still kind of like finding her ways. So yeah, they both are in the same place for some reason, I'm not sure why he's there yet. So they both have like writer's block and they're trying to figure this out. He ends up remembering who she is and they end up making a bet, essentially being like, you write one of my novels genres and the other one write the other novel genre. So romance plus literary fiction kind of flipped. And I guess that's the bet for the summer, and they have to write a novel in each other's genres to prove a point to each other, essentially. So it's giving like enemies to lovers, but enemies in terms of like, I guess this aspect, which is kind of cute. Yeah, so far, beginning I was a little bit bored, not gonna lie, but I did get into it. I was gonna give it a chance, don't worry. I went into it being like, I am trying to be open-minded. I'm getting into it now, guys. So yeah, especially after like they finally, like Gus was like, I remember you, we almost got with each other. I was like, okay, there's no way he's gonna remember her. Officially 25 chapters in. I only have, I think, like a couple chapters before I'm done with this book. Considering how it's not short, but I would say it's on the shorter end compared to other books that I've read. This book is like a lot more in depth than I thought. I just thought it was gonna be like some sort of a rom-com kind of vibe, but it's definitely a lot deeper than a rom-com. I think I'm gonna explain my thoughts after I actually finish the book. I only have like 3 chapters until I'm done. And chapter 27 was crazy. Just that I was like, oh my god. It's not bad, it's fine, there's nothing bad. It's just I was like, oh my god. I have just finished beach read, which is kind of crazy. So my overall thoughts on this book, oh my gosh, I think, okay, one thing that I felt like I really took away from the entire book, just that I've thought of immediately now. This book kind of shows you how there are a lot of things in your life that can stop you creatively, and the author actually mentions this. I don't know in which section, like the acknowledgements or something, because I was listening to the audiobook at the same time as this book. But basically, yeah, she says that she was writing this book during a time where she was also going through writer's block, and she was like, you know, can I make a book out of this? And she sure did, because January goes through, you know, this whole kind of writer's block, creative block, because there are things that are happening in her life that are impeding on her ability to be creative and her ability to kind of move forward with life. And that is so real, and I feel like she really captures that in this book. There are so many things just like go on in your life that prevent you from kind of being able to just go on with your day-to-day, go on with your natural state, natural flow of life. Like there's a lot that happens. Basically, I felt very bittersweet towards the end. Like it was very romantic. It was very kind of full circle, and it just wasn't what I thought it would be in the best way. I feel like I also enjoyed this one a lot more than I thought. There were some parts, I'm not gonna lie, where I did get a little bit bored, but I think it was just me. Like I've been kind of sick the past few days, so I've been just kind of trying to recover at the same time. So I don't know if it's because I've just been kind of like out of it, or if it's because of the book itself. But there were some parts where I kind of like, oh, like kind of want to move on from that. There are a lot of moments in this book where I was like, damn, like really feels like out of a movie kind of moments, but like in real life, if that makes sense. I don't know, it's just interesting like how January and Gus, like they knew each other from before, and there are parts of this book where it explores like them and their past, and it's just like quite interesting. I don't want to say anything to spoil like the plot line, but it's interesting because at the beginning they like don't like each other, but it's like a lot of misunderstandings, and it's basically giving like enemies to lovers but in real life. And it's just so, I just didn't see how it could happen with like the whole 2 writers thing, but they went to like college together, so that part was really interesting. And again, don't want to talk too much on it because again, it's like a big part of the plot line, but it's just interesting how you explore like some parts of their past and how it relates to now, and just people can be really misunderstood and a lot of things can get lost in translation or lost in communication and miscommunication as well. If you had just talked, you would have known, but like they didn't have the chance for that. So anyways, yeah, the ending felt very bittersweet to me. I almost panicked in the second last chapter because some things go down and I was like, no, like, I don't know how to say this without giving away, but this was my reaction. I was like, no, there's no way. You're not gonna like pull this on me. And no. I read like the last chapter and I was like, everything's fine. I don't know, I guess overall I really love this book. It really surprised me. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would, especially as somebody who like had the impression that a lot of like romance books are kind of not boring. Boring is not the right word, but again, there's not that element of high stakes, and that's what I feel like really drives like my motivation for a lot of my like, let's say, fantasy romances, because again, there's like a big life or death aspect of those novels, whereas this, for example, like it's not so much life or death. This kind of feels like one of those movies like from the 90s where there's like a bit of like a filter on it and it's kind of like a cozy romance, but they have some serious stuff go down, obviously. I don't know if A Walk to Remember is like the best example, but the kind of from that era, there's just a lot of elements of like family which I feel like are so relatable to a lot of people, and I feel like even though some parts of this like doesn't like directly correlate with my life at all, I feel like there are a lot of feelings and certain relationships and things I feel like between, let's say, your parents and things that you almost like can resonate with just a lot deeper than I thought it would be, and a lot more interesting than I first thought it would be. So yeah, don't judge a book by its cover. Not that I was judging this cover, this is a beautiful cover. Oh yeah, also real quick, Gus was giving like grumpy kind of vibes. Not that January was really giving sunshine, like, you know, that whole grumpy sunshine trope. I don't even know what I would kind of label this. It was more like enemies to lovers, but like in a real life setting, which I never thought could really work because the stakes weren't so high, but there were a lot of complicated things going on which I did not see coming. Okay, I'm gonna give this book a 3 out of 5 purely because I think there were some parts of this where I feel like I wasn't as concentrated on, although I found the actual content of this story very, very interesting. And I also feel like it was a lot more emotional than I thought it would be. Kind of wish I read this on a beach. That would have been such a vibe, but it's okay. I really want to get to it. That completes my reading romance books for the week, which is kind of insane. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I am going to go to bed now. I'm like pretty tired and really happy that I got through. Oh, here's Snubbles. Hey, she wants to end the video with me. I'm really happy that I got to finish all 3 of these books within the week. It's actually kind of crazy how fast I read. And my favorite of the 3 was definitely Jessa Hastings. I feel like I just like am obsessed with her writing style. It's just a very particular type of way, and I feel so involved with the book, and I feel like I knew everybody so well that was involved, and I was very invested in that story. And yeah, I think I just want to read more from like all of these authors, like Emily Henry. Would love to read more of Ali Hazelwood. And Ali Hazelwood was a lot more spicy than I thought it would be. I was like, this is a cute cover, and then everyone was like, no girl, like it's spicy in there. Jessa Hastings has like no spice, by the way, in her books. Like there's implied moments where they have like intimate moments, but like overall there's like, she doesn't ever go into detail, which is so fascinating to me again, because I feel like she just talks about like love and romance so well that it's just not necessary in her books to like add that extra spice, which is fascinating because again, like I've read some books with some really good plot lines, really good spice, and like really good like character connection and stuff. But yeah, it's just interesting because Jessa Hastings like showed me that it's not necessary to capture your attention. So love Jessa Hastings. If you haven't read Magnolia Parks, I highly recommend Magnolia Parks. And yeah, Anyways, love all the books that I read this week. I can't wait to do this again. I wonder what I will hit off next. Let me know. Maybe I can do fantasy. Would love to do a fantasy moment. I haven't read a good fantasy in a minute, guys. Leave suggestions in the comments. Let me know. And that is it for my video this week. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in my next one.